Did you know that only female bees can sting?
Yes. Okay. This one is by Melissa K. Norris. You're fine. And this is on Grow More Food this year. For us, it'll be next year. I'm going to hold up the picture so I can use it for the front of my video. All right. Though winter is often thought of as a fallow time of the year for growing crops, a lot of the work done during the cold months has a direct effect on the food you produce in the warmer months. One of the biggest mistakes I see gardeners and homesteaders make is continuing to plant the same crops in the same amounts year after year. If you've been gardening for a while, it can be very easy to rinse and repeat the previous years. Doing something on autopilot does have an appeal, but the time you invest in planning will pay for itself many times over. January is the month I take inventory of both our pantry and gardening goals for the year. I recommend you do the same. One of my goals is to raise a large majority of food for the entire year. When I first started, we raised and canned enough green beans for the year. Many of you would like to raise a year's worth of just one crop, and we do now, but it's a good place to start to pace yourself for the long haul. Excuse me. I'm not saying you have to limit yourself to only one crop, but if you put your focus on a few crops each year, soon it will grow without overwhelming you when harvest and preserving season arrives. Evaluate your crop selection. Did you eat what you planted? I love the idea of spinach, Swiss chard, and lettuce. We do eat all three of these crops, but I usually overplant at least one of them. When they're tiny seeds, it's easy to think we're going to incorporate more of them into our cooking and meal plans. Well, I don't cook grains because that's just well, you can preserve spinach and Swiss chard. Lettuce pretty much needs to be eaten fresh. It doesn't lend itself to freezing or canning. If you found you didn't eat all of a crop, then cut back on how much you plant this year or implement succession planting so you have it coming all summer long instead of one huge crop. The moral of this story, grow more of what you eat on a regular basis, which is a good idea. Keep records. If you don't know how much you planted last year, you do know how much to cut. How do you know how much to cut back on? Record keeping isn't just for planting amounts, though I do recommend you record that too. Here are some very helpful questions to keep and things to keep track of, sorry. When did you plant last year? Was it too early or too late for certain crops? When did you begin your seed starting? Was it too early and the plant got too big or before you could safely put them outdoors? Or did you wait too long and they weren't big enough by the time your first frost hit? When did certain pests and or diseases show up? How much rainfall did you get? Which crops really struggled? Which crops did great? When did you add amendments to your soil? What amendments did you add to your soil? I added that one because that wasn't in there. But that's important too. The answers to the above questions will help you determine what to do the same in the garden this year and what to adjust. If you're looking for a planner specifically for raising crops and gardening, I highly suggest the Family Garden Planner. I might look that one up on her website. Mark the calendar. Don't leave planting dates to chance or memory, especially sensitive time window things. If you have a short growing season in summer, it's critical you start your tomato starts indoors at least 8 weeks before your last average frost date. If you wait too long, the tomatoes won't be large enough to produce a crop before the first frost hits, and you will have wasted a lot of time and effort for very little, if any, actual tomatoes. It doesn't matter what type of calendar you use, digital, electronic, or your phone calendar, mark the dates. While many people order their garden seeds in January, I recommend you write in your calendar, I know you saw that coming, and order in the fall instead. That makes sense. This ensures you get the varieties you want, as many popular varieties sell out quickly. And seeds are just fine if purchased in November before the Christmas rush. 2 months of proper storage won't affect the viability of your seeds. I like to try new varieties in the garden. It keeps things fun. After 23 years of growing a garden, I still love discovering a new to me variety. However, some new varieties don't turn out. I tried a new winter squash variety this year and didn't produce anything. I grew quite a few delicata squash, a lot of acorn and sugar pie pumpkins, but only 2 butternut squash and 1 Oregon Homestead sweet meat winter squash formed at all. With over 6 plants, I should have at least got 1. I won't be attempting that variety again. Now, I've had quite a bit of good luck with the butternut squash, and I love fresh, homegrown butternut squash. It's amazing. And the vegetable spaghetti squash is really, really good as well. Because I grew the winter squash all in the same section, I know it wasn't a soil issue. It's important to know when it's a variety and when it's either soil health or weather. We had a record-breaking summer for the hottest consecutive days over 90 and without any rainfall. This was the reason we had a dismal onion harvest, not the variety type. Some years, especially if you don't have your own historical data to fall back on, it can be hard to pinpoint. In this instance, make sure your soil health is optimal and try that crop again, making any tweaks that could have impacted the harvest before giving up on it. Soil health. This is a big one. If there's one thing you can do to increase your harvest, it's soil fertility. Now, fish emulsion is really good. Eggshells, you can dry them out and crush them and turn them into a powder. And you can add that to your soil, and it adds calcium and other nutrients to your soil. There's other certain, food scraps, that kind of thing. Certain things will work better in certain areas. Now, if you have rabbits, I highly, 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 highly recommend rabbits, even just for breeding and selling the babies on your homestead, because you are going to get a multitude of very, very good fertilizer. Rabbit manure is cold. It is a cold manure, meaning you don't have to compost it before you use it around your plants and in your soil.
Wow.
It's an amazing thing for fertilizer for your soil. So
What?
Now, chicken manure, it is a hot manure. You have to compost it for at least 6 to 8 months before you use it in your garden, or it will burn your crops. Horse manure, pig manure, cow manure, they're all hot manures. So that has to compost before it can be used. Okay. I lost my place. Plants will never be large producers if they're lacking micro and macronutrients in the soil. Oftentimes, people think they need more gardening space, more containers, more square feet. And while that can be the answer, many times you can increase your harvest within the same square footage if you have the healthier soil. While we're going to look at specific levels below, I always recommend getting a soil test done, and you can buy kits and do your own. So you're not guessing and know the exact levels of your soil so you can amend with the correct amounts. And I'm actually going to do that when we get onto a property, which, guys, I'm asking for prayer for a big financial breakthrough. I might even do some GoFundMe things to get it to where we can get onto our own property and in our own house in less than a year. So at least a year from this coming spring, we'll have our own homestead to garden on. So prayers, guys, please, prayers. Let's look at the top 4 soil levels and how they impact plants. Nitrogen. Why your plants need nitrogen. Nitrogen is important for the growth of your plants, including chlorophyll and photosynthesis. Top signs of nitrogen deficiency. Yellow and pale leaves on the older sets of the plant. Despite good weather and conditions, the plant doesn't seem to be growing while they're thriving. I've had that problem down here in container gardening, because with container gardening, the plant will use up all the nutrients in the soil. And then you will constantly have to feed the soil to keep it growing properly, or replant it, plant it in your garden or something to where it can get nutrients easier. Top signs of too much nitrogen. Plants don't flower or produce fruit. They have a lot of lush, dark green growth, burning on the end of the leaves and or turning yellow or older leaves, which can be hard to distinguish between a nitrogen deficiency. Reasons nitrogen levels are low. Nitrogen is leached out by rainwater. If you have heavy rains or a lot of rain, hello, Pacific Northwest, well, we'll be in Michigan, so, or excess runoff, this can cause low nitrogen. Low organic matter can also lead to low nitrogen. Now, some of the garden areas in Michigan did have that problem because of how, like, the water ran off in some places and how it didn't in others.
Other cancers and major cardiovascular side effects are active and itching red flag. Breathing attention is possible.
This can cause low nitrogen. Low organic matter can also lead to low nitrogen. Now, here's another thing you can do, you guys. In the wintertime, well, I mean, I only did that because we didn't really have the compost pile going. But you can also add like food scraps to your gardens and like bury them in your gardens, and they'll compost and add that nutrients to the soil as well.
It's all good. It's all glad.
When to amend for nitrogen levels. It's best to add nitrogen in a general application once a year, usually in the spring. But if using fresh or hot manure like chicken or horse, then you'll want to apply it in the fall with straw. I was just talking about this. Or other organic matter to give it the full winter to compost down. Otherwise, it can be too hot and kill your plants with excess nitrogen. Top organic soil amendments for nitrogen levels. If your soil is not low in phosphorus and potassium, then you want to use a fertilizer with NPK proportions of 20 to 0 to 0. Info from my soil test by Simply Soil Testing. And you can look this up on her website, Melissa K. Norris. All right. And here's the things that she has listed. Blood meal, feather meal, organic urea, milorganite, whatever that is, composted chicken or horse manure taking care it is not too hot. That's why I said you want that to compost for at least 6 to 8 months. Phosphorus. Why your plants need phosphorus. Phosphorus is an important nutrient for the root development of plants. It also helps keep your plants hardy and healthy, have rapid and stable growth, and have maximum harvest yields. Top signs of phosphorus deficiency. A phosphorus deficiency can be somewhat challenging to figure out. The most common signs of a phosphorus deficiency include purple leaves, stems, and veins. The underside of tomato leaves often turn purple too. Stunted plant growth, especially during the early growing stages. Little to no flower or fruit production, and weak root systems. Common reasons plants struggle to absorb phosphorus. 1, low soil temperatures. 2, bad soil aeration. Compact soil reduces the soil oxygen supply and decreases the amount of room the plant's roots can stretch underground in pursuit of nutrients. Some of the soil in Michigan on my mom and dad's property have that problem because there's a lot of clay in it, and it gets really hard. So that is a problem up there. Excessive soil moisture. That's another one that they list. Top organic soil amendments for phosphorus deficiency. Compost. 1, compost naturally contains phosphorus. It gets boosts from materials such as wood ash, citrus rinds, manure, and fish waste. That's why fish emulsion is a good fertilizer for your plants, because it contains that phosphorus that your plants need. Before trying anything else, try just adding compost. Simply overdoing phosphorus amendments can cause more harm than good. And that's a good suggestion. 2 bone meal. 3% nitrogen, 20% phosphorus, and 0%.
But inside. Please. Hey, Perry, I don't want it. Abby.
Potassium. Wow. See, I don't know my periodic table. K is potassium. And 20 to 30% calcium.
Wow.
This is an excellent quick fix solution for phosphorus deficiency. Application and amount for adequately fertile soil. Till or rake in 3 pounds per 100 square feet for soil low in phosphorus. Add 2 pounds per 100 square feet with soil for average fertility. With average fertility. It last release time is 6 to 12 months, and bone meal is usually more expensive than rock phosphate. All right. 3, rock phosphate. 0% nitrogen, 33% potassium, and 0%. Wow, I'm stupid. Try it again. Rock phosphate. 0% nitrogen, 33% phosphorus, and 0% potassium. I never learned the periodic table. Excuse me, guys. I'm chemistry stupid. Plus 30% calcium and many trace minerals. I really am. I didn't do chemistry.
My dad lied.
I'm chemistry stupid. This is a long-term, slow-releasing option for phosphorus deficiency. You can add rock phosphate directly to the soil, or you can lightly sprinkle it on your compost pile. Rock phosphate is finely ground mineral skeletal remains of prehistoric animals. Application and amount for adequately fertile soil. Apply 6 pounds per 100 square feet for soil low in phosphorus. Huh? So just your average like Tractor Supply or garden store? Or online? You can get anything, Scott.
Oh, true.
For average soil, add 2 to 2.5 pounds per 100 square feet. Release time is about every 3 to 5 years. So that's a good thing. You only have to do it like once every 3 to 5 years. Rock phosphate is best added to acidic soil of a pH 6.4 or less. Also contains calcium, iron, and 9 other trace elements. Potassium. Why your plants need potassium. Potassium is very important to plant growth, general health, and development. One of the most important functions is regulating the plant's metabolism. Plants grow faster if they have sufficient potassium levels. It also helps the plant's roots become better at collecting, storing, and using water. Very important. Top signs of potassium deficiency. Your plant's leaves will have yellow edges, brown spots, and either yellow or brown veins. Your plant leaves will often curl. Overall, your plants will seem sickly and not produce as much fruit or produce. Possible causes for potassium deficiency. This book is hard to hang on to right now. The most common reasons for potassium deficiency in soil is simply that the soil is lacking proper organic matter. Sandy soils suffer the most from potassium deficiencies due to water moving through rapidly and leaching the nutrients away from the roots. In addition, high levels of salt, calcium, and/or magnesium can alter your plant's ability to draw in proper amounts of potassium from the soil. Top organic soil amendments for potassium deficiency. Number 1, compost. Compost is a wonderful natural source of potassium, and natural is the best. Banana peels, wood ash, aged manure, and other food scraps naturally contain sources of potassium for your composted soil. Number 2, green sand or glauconite. 0% nitrogen, 1.5% phosphorus, 6 to 7% potassium plus 5% silica. 18 to 23% iron oxide and 22 trace minerals. Green sand is a mined seed deposit. The greener it is, the more potassium it contains. Green sand is an excellent long-term solution to potassium deficiencies. I might actually order some of that on Amazon and just, keep it and store it in our garden shed. So we have it. I'm going to probably stock up on this. We're going to have to stock up on this stuff, as we go. That's why I said, please pray for us, you guys, that I'll be able to sell enough paintings and, enough of our merchandise and stuff to where we can just buy a house and property to get ourselves established. This world is literally going to hell. And we have to be on a homestead. We have to be. Being in a campground is actually going to be kind of dangerous. But it's going to be what we need to get back to Michigan unless I can sell those paintings. No, unless I can get the canvases and then sell the paintings. And I've got to get the right size canvases. So, and then be able to get them out online and get them to the right galleries and the right, everything has got to fall into place. And I can't lean on that to get us there. So, just pray. And I'm probably going to start some GoFundMes. I'm probably going to have all of us start a different GoFundMe that's going to go towards the same goal. And in all honesty, I might end up having the GoFundMes be at least 100,000 a piece, maybe even 150, because
You don't know.
if we can each raise that amount per person, we can take that and buy our house and property outright. That'll get us out of here, and we really, really, really need to get out of here. Really need to get out of here. All right.
It's another way of
Broadcast in fall. Apply 5 to 10 pounds per 100 square feet if the soil is low in potassium. Use 3 pounds per 100 square feet in average soils. And make sure that you go and get 2 or 3 of the soil test things, so you have some new ones to fall back on. Green sand releases.
It should, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Broadcast in the fall. Apply 5 to 10 pounds per 100 square feet if the soil is low in potassium. Use 3 pounds per 100 square feet in average soils. Green sand releases potassium very slowly over a 5 to 10 year period. Now that's a good time frame. So having, a few bags of it or whatever on hand will set you for your whole homestead time. Green sand helps bind particles of sandy soil and loosens clay soils. That's what I needed in Michigan for that soil. But I would rather have raised garden beds anyway, because they're going to be a lot easier to take care of. Number 3, granite dust. 0% nitrogen, 0% phosphorus, 3 to 5% potassium, plus 67% silica and trace minerals. Granite dust is another long-term, slow-releasing solution to potassium problems. This is simply finely ground granite rock. Application and amount for adequately fertile soil. Broadcast 10 pounds per 100 square feet to soil low in potassium. Apply 5 pounds for soil with average fertility. Number 4, help meal. 1% nitrogen, 0% phosphorus, 1 to 2% potassium, plus up to 33% trace minerals. This is your best quick fix solution for potassium deficiencies. Add potassium and also calcium, sodium, sulfur, and organic matter. Application and amount for adequately fertile soil. Add 1 to 2 pounds per 100 square feet and till or turn it into the soil. Calcium. So the best thing that I can suggest for all of these is to keep on hand several containers and or bags of each one in your garden shed. Keep them under cover in metal trash cans, not empty, don't empty them out in there, just put the bag itself in there, or, keep them in plastic tubs, whatever. So you have it on hand. And that way, when you can't go to the store to buy it, you have it when you need it. Calcium. Why your plants need calcium? Eggshells are a great thing for that. Calcium is important for your healthy formation of roots, stems, and new growth on your plants. It also deals with neutralizing waste and toxic materials in your plants. Top signs of calcium deficiency. The fruits of the plants, especially tomatoes, get blossom end rot. See, I didn't realize that's what caused that, so now I know that. New growth on the plant is stunted with distorted leaves and yellow patches near the leaf veins. I've seen that too. The plants can get brown edges on the leaves. Now with tomatoes, you can actually, when you plant your tomato seedlings in the springtime, after you don't have to worry about frost, because they're a very warm weather crop. When you plant your tomatoes in your garden, you make your little hole. Because even if you're doing square foot gardening, you can only plant one tomato per square foot.
Are you sure?
One tomato plant. So you dig you scoop out your little hole to plant your tomato seedlings, and then take and put some crushed eggshells in there. Or better yet, if you dry them out and then you crush them down into powder, sprinkle some of that in the hole. Kind of, cover it up a little bit, kind of sprinkle a little bit of dirt right there, not much, but a little bit. And then put your tomato in there, because that will actually give them that calcium they need. So, it's a really good, quick fix for that. The plants can get brown edges on the leaves. Possible causes for calcium deficiency. This can be a common issue for soil. Some reasons for calcium deficiency include too acidic or too alkaline soil, not enough moisture, the soil temperature is too cold, the balance of materials in the soil itself, clay, sand, etc. Now, up north, we will have a lot of sand, but, and this is where the soil tests come in, but I also know that crops do grow pretty well up there, so, and again, we're going to do raised garden beds, and compost, and we're going to use our own compost and that kind of thing. And I'm going to have an area, I'm planning on having an area on our property where there's going to be like one specific compost bin where we're going to constantly turn it like 2 or 3 times a week to try to get it to where we can have that quick compost that we can use consistently. And I'm spitting when I'm talking. Compost is a quick fix to a lot of your deficiencies in your soil. Top organic soil amendments for calcium deficiency. Here we go. Number 1, eggshells. That's what I was saying. Add plenty of eggshells to your compost to boost calcium levels in the soil. You can also just plant eggshells along with the plants, especially tomatoes. That's what I was saying. To add calcium to the soil. Grind up the eggshells very finely. Will take time to break down. Application and amount for adequately fertile soil. Apply 2 pounds per 100 square feet. So, number 2, limestone. If your soil is acidic, adding limestone, either calcium carbonate lime or dolomitic lime, can increase the alkalinity as well as calcium levels of the soil. If you already have high magnesium levels, do not add dolomitic limestone. Application and amount of either limestone for adequately fertile soil. Add 6 pounds per 100 square feet if the soil is clay-like. See, I didn't do my research completely. I didn't dig down deep enough, with the whole soil thing. I just, was planting stuff and just going along how I watched people when I was growing up. So, there's a lot more to it than that. So, that's a lesson to you guys when I keep saying, do your research. Do your research so you know that you have that knowledge to make it to where you you will be able to have good crop. Okay. Add 4 pounds if the soil is loamy and 2 pounds if the soil is sandy. So I'm going to have to remember that for up north. For a complete look at all of the top 11 micro and macronutrients of soil and amending them, among other goodies, check out my book, The Family Garden Plan. And I actually might do that because I really like Melissa K. Norris. Melissa K. Norris is a 5th-generation homesteader who lives with her husband and 2 children in the Pacific Northwest of Washington State. They raise over 90% of their own organic pasture-raised meat and over 60% of their own fruits and vegetables. Her popular website, melissaknorris.com, and Pioneering Today podcast help thousands of people live healthier and self-sufficient lives. And see, that's one of the things I'm trying to do with us from Faith First, is to help people learn how to live healthier, self-sufficient lives. So, and I'm probably going to get into more of the whole, like, podcast thing and, or just, putting more videos out and that kind of, the whole learning thing, the whole information. No, I'm not outside and showing you guys all this stuff while I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
But the information is still so important. So when I was reading this, I learned some new things that I didn't know, that I realized were the reasons why certain things didn't grow well in the soil in Michigan. I should have gotten a soil tester. I should have tested the soil. I should have gotten the amendments to the soil. I didn't do my research enough. Therefore, our plants suffered. We didn't get much for crops in certain areas. I know now. Now I'm going to make sure we have the soil testers. Again, we're going to do raised garden beds. When we get onto our own property and in our new house, if we don't have time to build the raised garden beds before we have to plant, and I have to do an in-ground garden, I will make sure I do a soil test. And, we'll talk about it on a video, and I'll tell you guys, I might even do the soil test on a video and show you guys, what it is, and talk about what I have to do to our soil to make it, I might even do that. Might take a small area and do an in-ground garden, and a small one, not a big one. And so we can talk about what needs to be added to, the soil testing and that whole thing. So, because that's something new to me, not new that I hadn't heard about it before. It's just I didn't do enough research. So it's new to me. So it'll be new to me to be doing it, but I'll put it on a video because that'll show you guys how to do it. And that it is very important, and we'll follow that garden very, very closely. Like on a video, like probably once a week. So we can keep on how that garden is doing. So, anyway, but that was it for, I forgot the title of that. Grow More Food This Year. And that was, again, by Melissa K. Norris. And I'm going to go ahead and get off from here and get this up there. And I will see you guys in the next video. Remember, guys, it's so important. Do your research. Because when you dig deeper, when you ask the why questions, okay, well, they're talking about this. Why is this important? Find out the why. And then when they bring up something else, why is that important? Dig deeper. Figure out the whys and what needs to be done to make your homestead better, to make your gardening better, to make it more productive, to make you more self-sufficient, because that's the whole goal, is to make it to where you can become self-sufficient, and having all this knowledge and being able to apply it and put it to good use on your homestead is going to make it to where you can become more self-sufficient. Anyway, so do your research, guys. And I will see you guys in the next video. And check out these other websites. Go ahead and check out melissaknorris.com. I haven't done a thing with our website in a while. I'm having some money issues. It might be through Webador. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what site to go through. I've been looking up. I started looking up several of them. Not sure which one I'm going to go through. I know there's Wix. There's some other ones, but
Map's gone and that's in a delivery. Give it the aspect.
I don't know. I'm still figuring all that out. So we're a ways from getting my website done. Anyway, our website done. But you know, when I do, I'll make sure you guys know that and everything. So, and I have 2 computers, so I can actually show you guys our website when I do get it done. Anyway, but go ahead and do your research, guys. Check out some of these other websites, melissaknorris.com, some of the other ones that I've mentioned. When I get through the last article in this book, I am in a list in the description all of the websites that you can go to and check out, and you know, check out these people's sites and see what they're doing and what they're about, and you know, follow along with their family and on their homesteads and that kind of thing, you know. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get off from here, and I will see you guys in the next video, guys. Do your research. I will see you guys in a little bit. Bye, guys.